and welcome to Courageously You with Martha. I am your host, Martha Alexander, and I am so delighted to be here today. We're on WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network. My information is marthadalexander@gmail.com. I love getting emails from y'all. So if you have questions, jot them down and shoot me an email. At the moment, my website is throughthelookingglasswithmartha.com, and that will be changing in a couple weeks. So stay tuned for that. I'm very excited about that. Today, I want to talk about the importance of celebrating your wins. Whether they're tiny wins or huge wins, it is so important to give yourself the credit you deserve. Now, why don't we do that? Generally, we don't give ourselves credit because it's selfish or it's bragging or there are so many myths about it. Here's the truth. When you do something that you're not used to doing, or that you want to make a habit, or that you were scared to do, or you were hesitant to do, or you just didn't do it, giving yourself credit and acknowledgement is really the key to getting you to take those steps again. Our brains like, our body, we all like that atta girl or atta boy, great job, right? Why go to somebody else to get that atta girl? Why not give it to yourself? It is so important to self-acknowledge yourself. Now, there are lots of reasons why. So I'm going to talk about reasons why, and then I'm going to talk about different ways to do it and and then what happens when you do that? What happens in your brain? Why is it important? So one of the reasons we do it is because it supports our growth, and you prove to yourself that you can do something, right? That builds confidence. It builds what you got. It gives you positive energy, right? When you give yourself an atta girl, atta boy, it builds energy. It makes you positive, right? When this podcast is done, I'm going to go, yeah, great job to myself, all by myself. And it can look silly. Doesn't mean anything to anyone else, but it means the world to me that I got on a podcast and that I spoke truth about things that I believe in. And self-affirmations and supporting yourself and supporting your wins, celebrating yourself is huge. Self-love. It's part of self-love. It's part of giving yourself what you need. So key. You don't have to wait for somebody else to do it. You can do it for yourself. Other reasons. It grounds you in the present. It makes you go, wow, I really did take a minute or a half an hour or an hour or whatever and do that. That's huge. I'm so happy I did that. It keeps you stuck. It keeps you in that present moment. The other thing it does is it encourages you to take risks. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I mean by risk, just a quick definition. I learned about taking risks through fearless living. It's all over there. It's all over. It's not just a fearless living. So you have a comfort zone, right? That's where fear wants to keep you. That's where your subconscious wants to keep you because it's safe. Whether that's at your desk, just head down, whether it's reading, whether it's watching TV, whatever it is, there's a place where you're not taking any risks. You're not stepping outside your comfort zone anymore. And in truth, podcasts are not really stepping outside my comfort zone anymore. It's one of my fun activities. This is one of the things that I love doing. So I'll still give myself an atta girl because I like to. So when you step outside your comfort zone, the first section, if you draw a bullseye, right? And the first time you step out of your comfort zone, that's something that you know you can do. You just are putting it off. The dishes, for me, often. It can be any of those tasks that you know you can do, you just really don't want to. And so celebrating those wins are really important because it helps you get through those chores, those to-do lists, right? It gives you incentive, motivation, good energy, happiness. When you tell yourself good job, or I'm proud of me, or celebrate your wins, your brain releases some dopamine. That's a good thing. You want that, right? You want that serotonin, that dopamine to flood. And I know I'm not a neurologist, so forgive me. It releases happy hormones. It releases good for me. It increases that happy feeling. So the stretch, things you know you can do, you just flip and don't want to, or you're just procrastinating about it for whatever reason. And it can be because you don't like it. It can be because it's something you know you can do. It just still is uncomfortable for you. Any of that. The next is taking a risk. That's that second outside ring is the one I want to talk about. And that's the one where you're not 100% sure you could do it. You think you can, but you're not 100% sure. So for me, at one point, doing a podcast was a risk. I wasn't sure that I would like it, that I would have an audience, that this was something I would really enjoy. In truth, it is. But that first time I stepped in and did it, I was hella nervous. I was so wrapped up. I had, 5 pages of notes that I'd condensed. I'd practiced it a lot, and I still do a lot of that. But I'm not nervous. Now I'm excited to do it. And every time I do it, I celebrate the fact that I did it. I celebrate my win. I celebrate the fact that I was on. I was happy. I had energy. And if I think I did a good job, I celebrate that. If I think I could have done better, I celebrate the fact that I got on and that I'm going to show up again, even though I could have done better. I love that. I love celebrating things that I do that are outside my comfort zone, because it builds my confidence. It makes me go, I did that. I can do something else outside my comfort zone, which grows your confidence, which grows your ability to do more and more things outside your comfort zone. And that starts to expand your comfort zone. So those celebrations of you are key to growing your confidence, doing more and more things, and really blooming in your life, really thriving. You don't know. Maybe you want to do a podcast. Maybe you'll love it as much as I do. You won't know until you try something. And when you celebrate, so we're going to go back to celebration. When you celebrate those things, those risks that you take, and they're not risks in terms of danger or whatever, it's risk in terms of you're outside your comfort zone. You're not sure if you can do it or not. When you learn that you can do something, you see how that would just level up your game. You level up. When you it's like in a video game, when you beat a new level, you've leveled up. You know you can do it. You've leveled up. You have more confidence. You try more things. That's so worth giving yourself some celebration. Now, what's the best way for you to celebrate? we're going to talk about that right now. When you do something, what's the first thing you do when you do something and you're so excited? For me, I thought it was yes. And I did that. I'm trying to build some habits. I'm reading the book Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg. It's a very good book. And some of the suggestions I'm getting are going to be from this book. So I'll be referencing it. So I thought that was it. And as I'm trying to build these tiny habits, so I'm trying to, after I use the ladies' room, I'm trying to do a couple of push-ups on the counter push-ups, not from the floor. And so I was trying, yes, looking at myself in the mirror and smiling at myself. And I realized after a couple of days that I wasn't doing it anymore, that I wasn't doing the push-ups anymore. So now, today, the last couple of days, I've been trying something my friend does, and she does a good job. And then I can kind of feel tingling in my spine. I kind of like that one. So we'll see. I'm going to give it about a week with that and see if that continues the habit for me. Here's the thing. There is no one on this earth like you. You are completely unique. So how you celebrate you is 100% up to you. There is no set way of celebrating your wins or celebrating what you do. There are no rules about it. The one thing there is there is nothing too tiny to celebrate, right? So BJ Fogg in his book says that one of the things to celebrate is flossing one tooth. So you decide to floss one tooth, you're done, you celebrate that. And if you want to do more, great, but celebrate one tooth. And that builds the habit of flossing your teeth. So there's nothing too small. It's the first step to doing something, right? So for me, doing a podcast, one of my first steps was thinking about doing it, was reaching out to someone who hosts channels, reaching out to goingsolomedia.com, was being interviewed first, and then meeting Cece, and then being on the Going Solo Network. Those are all steps. Those were all celebrations. Those were all things that I went, wow, yeah, that was a great meeting. Great job getting on the phone and asking your questions. Those are all steps that I took. And then the first time I got on, obviously, was a good job. And promoting it, I always celebrate my promotion of the show. When my numbers increase, I always celebrate that too. So it's each step. It's not just I'm on a podcast, good job. It's each step that it took. Let me take it to something that maybe is easier to relate to, and that's exercising. When I exercise, I celebrate putting the clothes out that I'm going to wear, although now with COVID, I pretty much wear those clothes all the time. Another story. Putting the clothes out at night with the intention that I'm going to exercise the next day. Picking it out the night before, that is a celebration. Yes, I am intentional about exercising. Putting those clothes on is also a celebration. Fabulous job. I chose to get dressed in the exercise clothes that I put out. Setting up my yoga mat. Yes, laying my yoga mat down is huge because it's a step. If I don't do it, then I don't exercise, right? So as many steps, you can celebrate something 10 times before I can celebrate about 10 steps, getting my water in prep, taking my supplement to increase my workout. Whatever it is, I can celebrate that each step is an intentional step in the process to get me to exercise, right? And the more I celebrate those small wins, the more I celebrate each of those things, the more likely I am to actually get on my rower or be on my yoga mat and turn on YouTube and actually work out. And then I also celebrate the workout. Lots of tiny celebrations that keep me going, that keep me energized, that keep me motivated and positive and moving forward. Because isn't that what we all want? Moving forward momentum, taking the next step in our journey, taking the next step where we're going to go. So no celebration is too small. They're all worthy of saying yes. And I know that's counter at least it was counter to what I was taught. I was taught that you celebrated the big wins. Well, there aren't as many big wins as there are daily wins on things that I do daily. And it doesn't feel as much. So for me, I was so not restricted. I was so not into celebrating myself at all that I didn't even really celebrate. I celebrated. I went to my graduation from law school. I'm a recovering attorney. And my family, certainly, we celebrated whatever. I never even hung my diploma on the wall. I actually have it in a drawer next to me because I found it in storage. It had been in my attic for 30 years. And I found it and went, that's interesting. I never framed that. I never really celebrated internally what that meant and each of the steps I had to take to get there. And so my confidence wasn't as high as it could have been had I celebrated each of those small wins along the way and then celebrated the big win and framed the diploma and rejoiced in it. It's another example of things. That's we can sometimes from our childhood take stuff and then not celebrate because we think it's selfish or it's bragging. Our parents told us whatever they told us, right? Don't make other people envious, or you have to be modest. You have to have humility. Well, celebrating small wins with yourself does not mean you are not humble. It does not mean you are not any of those things. What it means is self-love. And self-love is a phenomenal thing. You can't really love somebody else until you love yourself, not truly. So love yourself, celebrate those wins, show yourself those loves. We're about to go to a commercial break. Stay with me because the music is phenomenal. I love the pictures of the jewelry. So stick with me and I'll be bebopping. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the many ways you can celebrate and why it's important to find the one that resonates with you. We will be right back. So hang with me. You got to go.
If the world fades to black and white, well, I wouldn't mind, no, I would not cry, 'cause you are the rainbow in my sky. If the seas took us not pray if you are the ship sailing.
Hey guys, welcome back. So I always love commercial breaks. Don't ask me why, I just do. Thank you for hanging out. I acknowledge you for coming back and learning how to acknowledge yourself. So we're now going to talk about how do you acknowledge yourself. This is Courageously You with Martha. I am your host, Martha Davis Alexander. I'm a recovering attorney and a certified fearless living coach, and I coach adult children of divorce. You can reach me at marthadalexander@gmail.com or through the looking glass with martha.com. Keep tuned because that website is going to change. I'm very excited. And you are on the Going Solo Network. How do you celebrate yourself? It's already established you're unique and it needs to work for you. And if it doesn't work for you, then find something else you can do, right? What works for you? So when I was being certified as a life coach, I was taught one way of doing it, and that was an acknowledgement journal. And so every day I was supposed to write down, or I wrote down 5 acknowledgements. I acknowledge myself today for whatever it was. And I had to find 5 to 10 things a day to acknowledge myself for. Now, if you're doing tiny things, it's pretty easy to find those, right? You could take 5 immediately for just exercising, right? Getting the clothes on, getting going. Those don't last forever, and you need to switch it up on a daily basis. The thing is this. I'm not really a journaler. I do like to journal sometimes when I'm motivated, when it's going, and I really want to record something, and I enjoy going back and looking at it. But that's not really my gig. So I wasn't very consistent with it, and I found that I didn't acknowledge myself as much as I could have because I didn't want to write stuff down. Now, there are people who write it down, and I love that I know people, friends of mine, who have books of journals and upon journal that are their acknowledgements, and they go back and read them, and they can see how far they've come, or their gratitude journals. They can see how far they come. That is something I would love to say I do. It simply isn't my personality. It simply isn't my jam. It doesn't do anything for me. So if you want an acknowledgement journal, it is a beautiful gift to yourself to do that. You can, the best way when I did it, and I was consistent with it, I would do it in the morning for the day before or the evening before I went to bed. I did not consistently do it throughout the day. That just took too much away. What I found for me is I like to give myself, I didn't remember as much when I did it the next morning or even in the evening. So something to boost that is something in the moment that you might remember more. We've already kind of given you, and you can choose, right? If you don't want to journal it, don't journal it. Don't not acknowledge yourself because somebody's way doesn't fit your way. I want you to do it your way. That's going to be self-love and self-supporting of yourself. So it's a great way to learn more about yourself. I am discovering sometimes what motivates me and what doesn't. So you can say, yes. You can say, Atta girl. That was good. You can drum a happy beat on a wall or desk. You can imagine your mom or your dad giving you a big hug. You can just, if you're out in public, you can just give yourself a nod. Yeah, that was good, right? Smile big. Imagine in the distance, visualize fireworks going off for you. Imagine 500 people in an audience standing up and clapping and yelling and roaring, all for you. And you can do different things for different things. So if you want, when you've completed something big, imagine the fireworks. Imagine something big. You can give yourself different levels of acknowledgments and wins. That's okay. Do a double thumbs up to yourself in the mirror. Otherwise, yeah, right? Draw a happy face and feel into it. Some of these, by the way, are from Tiny Habits. BJ Fogg, he has a list in the back of his book, and I am reading some of those. You can pat yourself on the back. Give yourself a hug. You can ask somebody else for a hug and celebrate that way. You can think of, you can listen to your favorite song or hum a few bars of your favorite song. You can do a little dance. I know people who do a little dance. I know people who go, and that's their celebration. That's their cue to themselves that they did a good job. And that's what we really want, is a cue to yourself that you're doing a great job. You can hug a tree. You can go outside and take a moment to really reflect on what you did if you have time to do that. You can think, yes, I am doing it. You can say something like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You can do a dance. You can make a dance just for something. You can say, I nailed it. You can smile at yourself in the mirror, say, awesome job to yourself. Way to go. Put your palms together in gratitude. Yes, I did that. That was good, right? Got this. You can do a snapping of your fingers. That's a good one. What else can you do, right? Tap your fist on your heart 3 times, right? Listen to your heartbeat for a few times and say, I got this. I did this. Look at your favorite color. Give yourself some form of acknowledgement. Nice. That was nice. Good job. Breathe out and say, yes. Right? So whistle a happy song. Strike a power pose. Jump up and down with your hands in the air. Pose like a muscle man or superwoman, Superman. What else can you think of? What ways work for you? What resonates with you? Say touchdown. Imagine being on your favorite beach. Bow or curtsy gracefully. Give a high five to your kid. Yes, I did it. Grab someone close to you and have them join you in that celebration. Give a high five to yourself. Right? Giving yourself a pat on the back, snapping your fingers. Whisper thank you. Blow kisses like a movie star. Say right on. One of my sister-in-laws does that. She's like, right on. I love that. It shows she's from the 60s. Imagine you have a dog's, I love this one from the book. Imagine you have a dog's tail and wag it furiously. Just wag that dog's tail. My dog, his whole body wags when he wags his tail. Flash peace sign. What else can you do? Laugh out loud. Oh, here's the last one I'm going to give you. Channel Fred Flintstone. If you don't know who that is, you can Google it and say, yabba dabba doo. Doesn't matter what you come up with. Those are just some options and some thoughts. What matters is that you do something that makes you feel good. Lighting a candle, lighting incense, sitting for a minute if you like crystals with your favorite crystal or a crystal. Giving yourself a minute to breathe and really appreciate yourself. Appreciate what you have accomplished, whether it's tiny, whether it's big. Appreciate what you have accomplished. We all do so much in a day, and sometimes at the end of the day, we are so tired or so fed up or frustrated that we don't really remember or acknowledge or see what we have managed to do, because we tend to pile so much on our plates that we don't really even take a pause to congratulate ourselves or acknowledge ourselves on the things that we have accomplished. It will make your day so much more enjoyable, so much happier, so much more energy. It will give you so much more confidence. If when you complete something, you say, good job. However you acknowledge yourself or celebrate your win, if you do it throughout the day, somehow celebrate those wins. I've given you a list, BJ, some of them from BJ Fogg in Tiny Habits. And then at the end of the day, if you want to write them down and have that journal, they will be anchored into your mind. Wow, I did a lot today, right? I did a lot today. I made phone calls. Whatever it is that you've done, it is more memorable. Your brain will enjoy it, doing it more if you reward yourself, or not reward, but if you celebrate yourself, if you tell yourself, wow, great job. Those are positive reinforcements that are so important. And that self-love is key to success, to confidence, to happiness, right? The more you acknowledge, the more you love yourself, the better off you are. So let me wrap it up with kind of a summary. Sometimes we don't acknowledge ourselves because of conditioning, society's conditioning, our own conditioning, our family conditioning. And yet, self-love and self-celebration is actually the key to confidence, to energy, to satisfaction with your day, with what you're doing. And when you use it to build habits, it helps you build really solid habits. It really solidifies and anchors for your brain, for your being, for your body, that these things are important and you want to do them. It helps encourage you to get out of your comfort zone. It helps you expand your comfort zone. It helps you reimagine life and what you want. It opens doors. It opens opportunities. Your mind sees past. It's self-love. And when you are doing that for yourself, you can teach your children, your grandchildren, your friends to do it for themselves too. And when you do it for yourself, you tend to give more freely to others, right? If you celebrated that you made five 5 sales phone calls in an hour and somebody else does the same, you can say, right on, great job, good for you, without resentment or bitterness that you weren't celebrated, because you celebrated yourself. You don't need other people to celebrate. It feels great when other people celebrate you. And if you celebrate yourself, you are golden. You are opening the door to so many things, right? I strongly encourage you to do that. And we also talked about the fact that there are so many ways. There are as many ways to celebrate yourself as there are people in the universe. Celebrate it your way, because that's what's going to resonate with you. And you may try something like I did, and it may or may not be your jam or your cup of tea. And you may try a few things until you find the one thing that you really like. And that's okay. You can ask yourself for the first thing, if you're stuck doing something, ask yourself, when I do something really well, how do I celebrate? And go with the first thing that comes out of your mouth. And it may work for some things that you do. It may not work for all of them. So pick and choose, practice, see what works for you, experiment, play with it. All of this is ways to support yourself, to love yourself, to grow your comfort zone, to grow your confidence, to really step into you and the energy that you have at the end of the day, to be excited, to start a day, because you know that you're going to get something done. To be able to look back at your day and not be like, man, that was a bitch of a day. But instead to look back at that day and be like, wow, look what I got done. And some of that was difficult for me. Some of that I am so happy I got that done. What are those things on your list that you want to get to but can't motivate yourself? Self-acknowledgements will help you motivate. We talked about all kinds of ways of doing it. Come up with your own. Email me and tell me what you come up with that's different than what I came up with or BJ Fogg came up with. Email me and tell me. Try it for a week. Here is my call to action for you. For the next week, next 5 days even, next 2 days, whatever you can agree to, try it. Pick something and let me know what you picked, and let me know by emailing me what the change was, how you felt at the end of the day, whether you had increased energy, whether you were happier at the end of the day, whether you felt, wow, that was a hugely successful day. Let me know. I would love to hear what changes celebrating your wins, big or small, makes for you. Love to hear. You can reach me at marthadalexander@gmail.com or through my website at throughtheleookingglasswithmartha.com. Soon, my website will be courageouslyoucoaching.com. Or on my phone number, 805-422-6865. I'm really looking forward to hear from you, and I hope that you pick a way and start celebrating your wins. Celebrate your wins. Self-love, the best thing there is. This is Martha Davis Alexander with Courageously You with Martha on Going Solo Network. Join me again next Thursday, where I'm going to have a guest. I'm not going to tell you who. I'm very excited to share this person with you. So make sure you join us next Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific time, which is 6 p.m. Eastern time and 5 p.m. Central time. Join us for Courageously You with Martha next week, every Thursday. Have a fabulous week. and let me know how you celebrated your wins. Have a great one. Bye-bye.